YouTube Ozick Owen the Goat House is back after Sunday's action in week 6 here with my biggest winners, takeaways for other winners, biggest losers and takeaways for the other losers. So going over all games so far, still a Monday night game. Have you guys covered on Twitter. Full coverage here on the channel as well, weekly, and always adding more trade deadline videos coming out. We have a recent one up, more to come. So join us, like, subscribe to notifications on, follow us on Twitter. Very important, lot going on there. Links pinned in the comments for that, and our sponsors, Liquid IV, GLD Shop, code GOAT. Have a giveaway going on with the GLD Shop, some sick jewelry there. So check it out. So 5 biggest winners we'll go over first, one by one. Then we'll talk about the other winners, and then biggest losers, other losers. So we're going over everyone that's played. But the Lions, the first biggest winner of week 6, beating the Buccaneers 20-6. Maybe some thought it could be a trap game in Tampa. They're wearing the creamsicles. And then pretty early in this game, David Montgomery goes down, who's been a star player for the Lions really this year. And yeah, I guess the one negative is he went down. How's he going to be? He's had some injuries in the past. Gibbs is currently hurt, and the run game wasn't really working super well at all without him. That's kind of the negative, but overall, they still win 20-6. They are still consistently playing not just really good football, but actually like a contender. And especially when you don't just think about the Lions, and they are playing like a contender, but think about other teams around them. The Niners are great. I mean, we'll talk about them. They lost this week. It was disappointing, but Niners have been great, legit contender in the NFC. But you look at what's going on, and it's a little bit more open. There's a little bit more like the top slots are open for the taking, and the Lions are up there right now. They're playing like a legit contender. In the AFC, the top teams might not be as strong as we thought they would right now. I know maybe injuries playing a part, but the Lions are up there right now, and they're continuing to play like it. They're kind of featured every week for the most part, obviously except for the Seahawks game. Mainly because they're playing good football, but they're winning in multiple different ways, and that is still the case here. I think they're playing fantastic team football as well, and it's a lot more than one play that proves that. Everyone's seen it. Anyone that's watched them has seen it. Both sides of the ball, they fly to the ball on defense. They play very good team football. But one play really, I thought, summed it up, and it was Amon-Ra St. Brown's touchdown where he completely went off track. Where he was heading. Because he trusted his teammates, and some solid vision on that play as well. But you had to go backwards, sideways for a while, and you really have to trust your teammates. And I think the highlight is Craig Reynolds landing that block, which maybe it should be because it was incredible. But there was so many good blocks, and there was good blocks without even those players blocking, even touching the defender, like smart blocks. And St. Brown did a fantastic job too. Staying in bounds, everything like that, but making an athletic play, just making a big play, being the playmaker that he is. But that play got me excited. I mean, everyone in sync, on the same page, incredible trust team football. And it's just, if you love football, it is a beautiful sight. It really is. Like, plays like that just really get me excited. So that it's one play. It was more than one play. It's been more than one play all year, but just something that just sums it up for the Lions and how good of a season they're having so far. I thought Jared Goff was absolutely fantastic in this game. I kind of been seeing it, this year, but especially in this game against a really good defense where they're blitzing him early and it was getting through for the most part because the Buccaneers are a pretty good blitzing defense. Overall, they're a very good defense and they make plays. But I saw Goff making, and that's what I was getting into. I've seen him make adjustments before, but a lot of adjustments at the line, when needed, and it felt like for the better. And because a lot of time with this Lions offense, it's a very well coached, and it's a nice playbook, from this offense of Ben Johnson, and they scheme a lot of things open, and they have a good offensive line, so a lot of that is a big reason for their success. But it's very easy to go, well, things are made easier for Goff. And it kind of is true. And, it'd be made easier for any quarterback. But for him to, he's not getting his hand held out there. He's going out there making adjustments at the line for the better, making big boy throws, a lot of throws in traffic, tight coverage. all right, this isn't open. This isn't open. I got to get the ball out right now because the Buccaneers got a pretty good blitz or good pressure. We're going to have to make a tight window throw. It's not like a stupid tight window throw attempt, and it's on time, accurate. The downfield throws, the same thing. I thought he adjusted throughout this game, not just like at the line, but just adjusted in general from what the Buccaneers were showing him. I thought this was his one of maybe his better games of his career. He had some pretty ridiculous ones on the Rams early on, but maybe as a Detroit Lion as well. And he's had maybe more productive games in terms of stats, but just talking about being an NFL quarterback, adjusting, I was very much impressed. Very much impressed. And you do wonder, like, going into the year about Goff, like, against zone coverage, because in his career he's been much better against man than zone. He's turned the ball over against zone. And last year teams were running a crazy amount of man because there was really no game plan for that Lions offense. So you do wonder about, like, how will he be against the better zone defenses. And the Buccaneers do mix it up. They do play man, but you see a lot of cover 3 out of them as well. And they blitz while running that. So it gets a little tricky. Todd Bowles calls a good defense, and for Goff to have that good of a game, and again, not just with the stats, really don't care about the stats. They were good, but just, again, being a big-time quarterback, making adjustments, I was very much impressed. So Lions are playing contender football right now. Like, everyone kind of knew they would be good this year, but I think they're ahead of schedule. They look good. They look good right now. Hopefully Montgomery's all right. They need to get healthier right now. A lot of teams do, though. Another big winner, the Houston Texans, and we've talked about them up here as a big winner multiple times this year. They beat the Saints 20-13. A lot of people doubting them this week, but they're at home against the Saints and playing one of the very best secondaries in football, one of the better defenses in football. And Stroud's been pretty damn, for a rookie, been pretty damn perfect almost. But then does throw an interception in this game. They were fortunate to get it back on the fumble, so that was kind of a huge moment, because then they went and scored after that. But that was really it. Wasn't the greatest game for Stroud, but at the same time, he had some little throws here and there that extended drives and kept things going. The ball's coming out on time. He's accurate. He's escaping pressure. He's buying time, but he knows when the ball needs to come out. He's not going to hold the ball. He's going to escape, but not going to hold the ball forever. So I think that, still a solid game. It wasn't like the greatest. He had better games, earlier in the year, but got the job done, obviously. But I thought Pierce was running very hard. But that's kind of like the theme of this Texans team. And I credit to the coaching staff. So I'm very impressed with the coaching staff, and led by DeMeco Ryans. He's turned his team around pretty quick. And of course they got better young talent through the draft. But I just turning around, like, the morale, the chemistry, the energy, the toughness, of this team, I think is pretty evident. And I think a lot of credit is to the entire coaching staff, but DeMeco Ryans. But then it kind of goes in. They play very fast and physical. You could just see it on both sides of the ball constantly. Like, when they hit you, when they get a big first down, a big gain, it just happens so fast. Like Stroud getting outside the pocket, rolling out, throwing on the run, or they run up the middle for the Pierce looking fit. It looks fast, physical, and the offensive line getting downfield is so well coached. And defensively, I think it even stands out even more. Like team football, everyone flying the ball. Just fast and physical. That's what I think of when I watch the Texans on both sides. But yeah, they're still able to do a little bit here and there more than that on both sides of the ball. Like they didn't just win with offense. They didn't just win with defense. I think the defense probably deserves a little more credit, but offense execute when they needed to. So, and they're just going to continue to get better. And I know they slipped up last week, but they're just going to continue to get better. I mean, there was a offensive game-winning drive, would have been game-winning drive last week. I know that the defense kind of let them down after that, but they're able to show they can do those things, and they did well enough to win that game last week. I still think they're better than the Falcons overall. Head-to-head in that game in Atlanta, they lost it, but yeah. So and they're going to continue to get better. Is kind of the main point there. So. Impressed with the Texans this year. I'm very excited about their future, but I'm actually excited about them for this year's future, the future for the rest of the year. So that was a big time win. A lot of people were doubting them in this game. Next, we got the Browns beat the juggernauts of the NFL, the San Francisco 49ers, without Deshaun Watson, with PJ Walker, who was on the Bears in preseason, as their quarterback, and they win 19-17. A wild game. Maybe some things went their way with calls, and I guess a little bit of luck here and there. And the Niners guys were getting beat up, but the Browns were without Deshaun Watson. They were with P.J. Walker, a guy that wasn't on the team in preseason. They don't have Nick Chubb. They found a way to win. But I'm just so impressed with this defense. The defense is ridiculous. I'm calling it elite. And I was excited about it going into this year because it got much better. It was already very good on paper. They just needed a coach to kind of put it together, and Jim Schwartz is a very good defensive coach. We knew that. So well coached. The game plan's fantastic. They could beat you in multiple ways. Coverage, pass rush, blitz. Just sticky in coverage, can run man coverage at a high level. The defense just looks ridiculous. It is one of the better ones in football. It's kind of being proven. I mean, it's week 7 going into week 6 going into week 7. So now it's like there's really no like fluky stuff, anymore in terms of like identities of units or teams, But that doesn't mean, would P.J. Walker Browns beat the Niners every week? Like, no, I'm not saying like that is like a fact because they did in week 6. I'm just saying the defense it's not a joke anymore. It's not a maybe anymore. It looks pretty damn good. I'd definitely put it in the category of elite right now. And a game like this just shows how good their roster is, like how complete their roster, and they're a better team than people think, because I think a lot of it is just people don't want them to be good because of the situation with the quarterback that did not play in this game. But it's just a really good roster. It's one of the best defenses because it's very good. Offense has talent all over the place. Offensive line's very good. They find multiple ways to win the game. So it's a really good roster. So I think they could be a contender, maybe more of a contender. I've been hot on the Browns, but they can be more of a contender than I thought if they're healthy, if they have maybe even without Nick Chubb. Maybe they need another running back, but they look pretty good in this game, I guess. But with Deshaun Watson, I think they can be more of a contender than people realize, maybe more than I realized. And look at the AFC, too. It's compared to going into this year, the Jets don't have Rodgers. The Bills are beat up right now. They look a little vulnerable. The Chiefs don't look as strong, as they usually are. The Bengals don't look as strong as they usually are. And maybe it goes on for a little bit. So it's a little bit more open on top of it. So if Deshaun Watson gets right, gets healthy, this team could be pretty damn scary. Just so impressive beating the 49ers. Somebody took them down. I didn't think it was going to be the Browns team that led by P.J. Walker. If Deshaun Watson was playing, it would not have been a surprise to me at all. But next, the Jags continue to roll. They won 37-20 against the Colts. I thought it could have been. I was confident with the Jags, even against the spread, but I thought maybe it could have been a little bit of a trap game because they were in London for 2 weeks. I mean, maybe a little bit of a hangover coming back from London. I think that would be tough on me, at least. I know these guys are different, but that part of it really doesn't have anything to do with like your talent on the field. It's just, I feel like that would mess with a lot of people, but just a much better team, and they go out and show it. And right from the start, this game was pretty over pretty early. ETN's getting going. Like, the weapons are getting going. They didn't even need like the full game for this offense too. They kind of pushed the brakes a little bit, but I think they could have done more. But they got off to a good start. And I thought that is huge against the Colts, because the games that the Colts have been sneaking away with, like, they get these clutch moments or good starts like early, and it's like they get momentum, makes it tough for these teams. Kind of what I noticed from the Colts. So that was huge. They're staying hot. They're one of the hotter teams in football, like we said. But I think both sides of the ball, too, like making plays on both sides of the ball in multiple ways on both sides of the ball, too, though. So, like, they started pretty damn slow. It's like, man, dude, is this early season fluky stuff that always happens? Or is it for teams, not every team, but happens a lot for NFL teams? Or are the Jaguars just not as good as we thought? And then all of a sudden, they're getting better and better. They're just on both sides of the ball. They're looking like one of the more consistent. Some of these teams can't stay consistent. Even some of these teams are winning. They're really not impressing me that much. So the Jags are getting better. They're staying hot, both sides of the ball, and they're impressing. So hopefully Trevor Lawrence is okay. He said he'll be okay. He said that, but that was a little bit of a scare, I suppose. But this is a good one for the Jags to kind of continue to keep rolling, because as you can tell from other outcomes, it is tough to continue rolling in this league, this tough league. And then the fifth biggest winner, the Jets beating the Eagles, another undefeated team, taking them down 20-14. Definitely clutch, maybe a little bit of luck at the end, help from Jalen Hurts, but the Jets, I think, created that. They made plays all day, 4 turnovers, absolutely huge. Offense moved the ball all right, maybe better than expected. Of course, you want to turn these field goals into touchdowns, but they got the job done. But elite team defense, not just elite defense, elite team defense. Another one that plays as a team, like they're all flying to the ball together. It's fast, physical. I mean, it's really fun to watch. But I think elite defensive coaching, Saleh, Ulbrich, these guys are ridiculous. I mean, they put the players in position to succeed. They have good players. And you got to shout out players that, weren't like the biggest name players like going into this year, but like guys like Quincy Williams and Jermaine Johnson. I know he was a big name prospect, but these guys are playing some ridiculous football right now. Not just the normal star players, but speaking of star players, both their star corners were out of this game. Like, take away 2 big time, 1 elite, but 2 big time star corners out of your defense against the Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, etc. offense. It's pretty big, but it kind of goes into the coaching. And I kind of always preach that. Like, some people act like corners are just as important as pass rush. It's not, but it's good to have some good corners. Coaching, calling coverages, play by play, showing disguises, like teaching your defense like how to do like situational stuff. That is huge, especially when it comes to the secondary. Pass rush and coaching are the biggest things when it comes to defense, and it's kind of been proven. You don't need the best corners to win a Super Bowl. You need a pretty decent defense to win a Super Bowl, unless you have an insane offense. But coaching is just absolutely massive, and it shows right here with the Jets. What they've done. They made Jalen Hurts. They put pressure on him, and they made Jalen Hurts look like not so much like Jalen Hurts. I suppose they're gonna play pretty much everyone tough. They played everyone tough. Maybe not the Cowboys, but when you got a game plan for the Jets, when you got to go play the Jets on Sunday or whatever day it is, it's like, all right, we got to focus up. There's a sneaky team here, so. The Jets could sneak off some wins here. It's really a shame. It's even more of a shame that Rodgers got injured, because this could be the team. This could be the team of the AFC if they had Rodgers. So that was pretty brutal. But going on to, I wasn't really thrilled with a lot of teams, to be honest. Like, we're gonna talk about every positives for every team that won, but I'd say there's like who had great takeaways for me. The 5 biggest winners, and I think maybe these top 2 teams here. The Rams were very close to being a biggest winner. I try to do 5. I'm not going to force 5 though, but I don't really see myself doing more than 5. But they were close. I love the adjustments. Reason maybe why they weren't is they looked pretty bad in the first half, and Sean McVay insists on things, and it's been all year. How many times have I been here saying they got to run the ball? Why are you going away from the run? You got to run the ball more. And it was still me yelling at the TV that in the first half, and then they come out of the second half. They made those correct adjustments. They pounded the football, get on the ball, pound the football, and Kyren Williams was insane in this game. Fantastic, was so fun to watch. Big Kyren Williams fan. Love his game. I'm a big Notre Dame fan, so but just love this game, and you see what he's capable of. He's like a kind of a smaller back, but he's got a little power to him. But he's so quick, shifty. Like, he didn't run the fastest 40, but it doesn't even matter because he plays so quick and quick twitch, and the vision is there. He knows like what's happening before it's happening. So he was a monster in this game. Every time the Rams don't use enough of him or they go away from him, it's been a problem, though. I think in the Eagles game, got to scoop my chair up, red zone of the Bengals game, but they adjusted properly, and they dominated the second half of this game. Absolutely dominated. And not just that, adjustments on both sides of the ball, but they snuck in some passes as well, but just shutting down Josh Dobbs and the Cardinals down in the second half. So my takeaway from this game, the Rams could be sneaky too, because it's like when you play the Rams, it's like, all right, It's McVay, it's Stafford, Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua. Now they're gonna air the ball out. They want to throw, maybe sneak in a run. So we got a game plan for the pass. We got to be on our toes. We got to keep players deep. We got to keep players over the top because they got that dangerous deep ball. That's kind of the thinking mainly when you're going against the Rams. But back in your mind, you know they're kind of capable of running the ball. And then they have a game like this. It's like, how do these next teams like game plan for them? It's like, shit, we got to, we got to worry about this. And it's like trying to identify like what's coming, I think is pretty tricky. It makes the Rams pretty damn sneaky. And adjustments for the Dolphins as well. They started off a little slow, but I thought there was great adjustments on both sides of the ball too. Not just offense. I wasn't really worried about the offense, but kind of just getting going more efficiently. And then the defense, though, because the Panthers were kind of moving the ball however they liked, however they wanted at first. So I'm still a little iffy on the defense. It's great that Jalen Ramsey will be coming back earlier than normal, and he's that type of player where it can make a big it will make a big impact. But is it going to just solve some confusing defensive problems? I don't know. So that's been tough, but great comeback, another big win. It should be at home against the Panthers. It should be like that. A little slow start. Showing that you could bounce back is pretty good, though. Ravens, yeah, that's the thing. Like a bounce back game. They controlled this game. They outplayed the Titans, and maybe more than the score would show. The pass rush got going. Lamar kind of made plays we needed to. The interception was kind of tough. It was pretty tough, like to kind of let him back into. But everything I said besides that is pretty good. But like for things to be going your way, and I thought the Ravens completely outplayed them on both sides of the ball. Again, positive. But like to let the Titans back in, that muff punt mistake at the end of the first half, just things going the Ravens' way, just outplaying them. Like it's a kind of classic Ravens. Like let them back in. It's still like to me, it's like like things got to be going perfectly, and you're still like a little sketchy in a way. So overall positive, like I said, for the reasons I explained. But you got to do a better job closing things out here. You got to do a better job closing it out. Bengals-Seahawks game was weird. That was a weird game. It was like early. It's like, all right, there's probably going to be a lot of offense in this game. Bengals moving the ball on the Seahawks defense wasn't surprising. Like big plays to chase. And then early, but the Bengals defense struggled maybe early, and I'm like, guys, this defense is not as good as it used to be. And then all of a sudden it flipped, and then both teams were on the same page. And all of a sudden it flipped, and both teams were on the same page, and it was bad offense and good adjustments on defense and good play on defense. And there was a little bit more, like it was weird, and I think it kind of got even more strange with the Seahawks. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But overall, like the Bengals, like right away in this game, I'm like thinking, like, is it as good as it used to be, like the Bengals defense? But then they really adjusted and they played fantastic. Like Geno was making some good plays, but then all of a sudden they turned it into like making him look like a bad quarterback. So the defense ended up being really good for the Bengals. The offense did enough early on, but like, go put them away. It actually got a little close at the end. The Seahawks had an opportunity to go win it. So a little scary, I suppose, but mainly the positive takeaway is the defense against the offense from the start. The Commanders, it felt like a team effort, both sides of the ball. That kind of get everyone involved, each part of the game. Defense clutch out, making plays. But they made clutch plays when they needed to. Like when they needed to convert on offense or get the ball in the end zone, they did. But defensively, mainly when they needed to get their hands on the ball, get a stop, they did. What I don't love, I guess somewhat similar to the Ravens in a different way, though, I guess. Things are going your way, and it's because the Commanders. Like, it's not like they were lucky or really anything. I mean, Ritter kind of happened. I think the main takeaway is Ritter happened in this game, but the Commanders are playing good. I think the big thing, too, the Falcons been tough to stop in Atlanta, and the Commanders outplayed them, did a good job there, so credit to them there. Credit to them for playing, just overall playing well, making plays, but things kind of going your way. I just want them to put the Falcons away in this game because it's like, all right, Ritter threw another pick. Game's got to be over. Got to be over. Like, oh, my God, the Falcons are moving down there. They're about to score. All right, Ritter just gift-wrapped the interception. Okay, all right, it's over now. Definitely over. Like, all of a sudden, the Falcons are moving again, and then Ritter throws another interception. It's like, good job making plays. Why is it coming down to that, though? Things are going your way. Against, it's not a juggernaut team in the Falcons. Go put them away. So that's kind of my knock on them. Maybe why it wasn't like I'm not really like thrilled. Like I said, thrilled with maybe 7 teams. Maybe that's a little generous even. But it was a much needed win here because they were on a bit of a losing streak there, so that was tough. Other winners here. The Chiefs controlled the clock in this game, dominated the clock, kind of did what they needed to do. Very solid defensive performance, which you expected against the Broncos, but very, very solid. Again, it's like I feel like the Chiefs can do more. It's kind of the same takeaway every week, and they can do more. Maybe it's they don't look great. They're definitely a good team. They don't look great right now. I need more, but at the same time, it could be a positive because they're winning. They're on a winning streak. They haven't lost since week 1, and they haven't really played like the Chiefs yet. So in a way, it's a positive. Raiders closed it out. Garoppolo got injured, taken out of this game somewhat early. Hoyer's got to come in, old man Hoyer, and they find ways to kind of close it out. I think going in, I guess it got a little scary at one point. I wouldn't even say scary, but Crosby gets that penalty, this Patriots score, but. And then Mac Jones throws a pearl to Devontae Parker for a while that, and he dropped it. So if that's a catch, then it could be a whole different game. But they closed it out. Did McDaniels do something very stupid at the end? Probably not. Or not this time. So I guess that's what I mean. Kind of whether they closed it out. I guess what I'm thinking about it was maybe a little scary. But I'm glad they got Michael Mayer going because that guy was just too damn dominant in college. Just such a good football player. Just a factor for him not to be a factor for the Raiders. And he led them in receiving today. So right off the bat, too. So I like that they got him going because he should be a factor. And they have Adams. They have Myers playing great. Jacobs, even in the passing game. You get Mayer going. They're a little dangerous, So that's good. Vikings, sloppy game. What else is new with the Vikings? The blitz is great. It's one of the best in football. They blitz way more than anyone in football. So if you blitz that much more than anyone, like 58-point-something%, that's absurd. So if you blitz that much, you probably should be one of the better ones. But they are definitely one. Like the defense isn't good, I don't think. But the blitz surely is. It for sure is. And it's a factor in this game. Like the Bears tweaked things last week, and it is the Bears. So. Not really thrilled overall with the Vikings, but still sloppy. But the Bears tweaked some things on offense last week, so it's kind of a tougher game plan. Like, what are they going to run? But the Vikings, what their style of play on defense, I credit to Brian Flores. I think kind of limited them, took some things away, but still sloppy. Even though they had no Jefferson, the offense should be able to do more in this game. So it wasn't thrilled with the Vikings. Defense is what that's supposed to say. I guess you couldn't fit it, but I like to put DEF. Not the E in there, but for short. But defense stepped up when they needed to. I guess the offense did. I was about to say the offense kind of clutched when they needed to, but then they failed at that when they had a shot to put the game away at the end. But, yeah, not the best outing for the Bills. They were almost fortunate to come away with the win because what happened at the end of half, Tyrod, big mistake there. Could have got a field goal, and they just would have won with a field goal at the end. Bills probably would have went for 2 at that last score, though, so who knows? It might have been overtime, whatever. And then maybe they definitely got away with the pass interference at the end of that last play. I guess the refs didn't want to call 2 in a row. But I guess the Bills stepped up when they needed to, but wasn't thrilled with them, obviously, so not the biggest winner out of the winners. On to the biggest losers. The Niners are mainly for multiple reasons, I guess, but they got beat up. They got injured. Guys were going down like crazy. It's the star players, too, so that is not you're going to be a loser because of that, alone. Which you lost to P.J. Walker. I know things didn't go your way. Guys are getting injured. Things really didn't go your way with the calls either. And it maybe the Browns got a little fortunate, but still, you're playing P.J. Walker. Guy wasn't on the team all off season. Offense, Purdy kind of came back down to earth a little bit against a good defense. Got to find more ways to win here. So it's a tough one. That's could be so dominant, and I still think they're the top team in the NFC, perhaps, but it could be so dominant for so many weeks, and then it just kind of really brings it down a little bit with the game like this. So it's tough. Eagles got a little beat up in theirs too, but very sloppy. I mean, 4 turnovers. They choked this one away too at the end, and Hurts was a little questionable. Obviously, he made some good plays still, but he was very careless with the ball. He was questionable under pressure. I know he's really not under pressure much. So is he a guy like he needs things to be perfect for him to look elite? Things like that. Just that last play. And I was getting in some debates. I think it's Eagles fans or Hurts fans. I'm just saying, if you want to be elite, you cannot make plays like that. People go, well, elite quarterbacks throw interceptions too. That is just so far past the point. Like, not the point, not really talking about interceptions. Like, everybody throws interceptions. It's more of the situation. Like, the Eagles had a win. Like, they pretty not wrapped up completely, but pretty much had to win wrapped up. That's a routine situation for what is supposed to be a great quarterback. If something's there, make the play. If it's not there, let's punt the ball. He can take off and run too. That would obviously help too. There's multiple different things you can go. Just know the situation. It's kind of like a routine play in a crucial situation. Don't throw it not only into double coverage, but just directly to the defender. What that did was take a win and just turn it into a loss. So other quarterbacks kind of throw interceptions in some games, and maybe if they don't throw those interceptions, maybe they would have won the game. It's like a maybe situation. But in that situation, you don't really see that often. I'm sure it's happened, but can't point one specific out. People were trying to on Twitter, but they were not the same situation at all. It just can't happen. Bottom line, Hurts with that one play turned a win into a loss because of the situation, because what he decided in that situation. I do not want to see that. I don't want to see that. So that was bad. People are going to have to accept it. It was just bad. I don't know how you're going to try to argue with me that it's not. But it's just a sloppy game all around. And it feels like things kind of need to be going great for Hurts, and that's really not the best look. I'm not saying that's him forever and ever in every game. That's what it looked like in this game. That's all I'm saying. But does have to be better in those crucial situations for sure. I mean, you got to be able to beat the Jets. And you think about it, and the Eagles haven't really been playing that great, even though they've been undefeated. We kind of been saying it, had the easier part of their schedule. So yeah, it's just not those things start to come out when you lose a game like this. Falcons, Ritter's really bad, and that's really not a team thing, but it kills the team because the team is pretty good, but it doesn't really matter when the quarterback is that bad, and the coach insists on him. And I don't love the going for 2. I hate the analytic play going for 2 down 8. I hate it so much. I guess it never came into play, but if finally the guy didn't throw an interception, they got in the end zone, they would have to go for 2. So I don't love that either. So I guess not just Ridder, but and Bijan didn't look that great. Algier ran better than him. Thought that was odd. But I don't know how you continue to go on with Ridder after a game like this. I don't know. And they kind of been relying on home field advantage, like winning at home and barely squeaking by. And then here's a home game against a team that's been struggling, and you can't do it. You can't find a way. So it's a rough one. Broncos, Sean Payton's been bad. Russ has been worse. And other people just kind of delusional, can't accept that Russ has just been bad. Like, the stats won't fully show it. A lot of dink and dunking, but it's like anytime there's just a big crucial play situation in terms of time of the game, 3rd down, 4th down. He's not throwing interceptions like crazy, but it's holding on the ball too long. It's trying to scramble, running into contact, not knowing when to throw the ball, not when to give your receiver a chance. And it's kind of been that, and it's kind of been limiting Sean Payton. So Payton's job's made harder by Russ, but Payton's been bad as well. I mean, it's getting predictable, and I guess Russ is limiting his playbook, creating that, but I don't know. I think you do a little bit more here. It's been some questionable decisions from the coaching too. I mean, since the season started with the onside kick to start the year, I bring that up again, but so it hasn't been great there. And then Payton kind of throwing Russ underneath the bus after the game. So it's been pretty bad. I mean, the defense been bad, but they did okay in this game against the Chiefs. So I don't know. Patriots, I might have had this take already before. I can't remember, but they're bad at quarterback. They're bad at receiver. They're bad at offensive line. All is true. They have a lot of work to do. The Patriots roster hasn't been this bad in a bit. It's weird to see. So, but Mac Jones is really bad. But he finally throws a beautiful ball and Parker drops it. The offensive line hasn't been protecting too well. So, just a bad situation there. Other negatives, the Bears. Limited offense. I think it's hard to fit everything I want to say on that, but they rely on perfect situations, like everything. I guess the better wording would have been like kind of everything going right, so they can do their specific. They can call plays to their specific liking, I guess, is what I want to say, and that kind of goes into them being limited on offense. They tweaked things last week against the Commanders, and it was a lot of that wasn't on film, so that kind of went well. And the Commanders had a pretty bad defense, going into the game, and they didn't really have a game plan for some of those counters they were that they were throwing at them, and read options, and just getting Fields outside. Is he going to run? Is he going to throw? There's really not much of a game plan for it, and those things were working. So they're kind of relying. I know Fields got hurt in this game. I guess we'll get to that, but they're relying on those things, like everything being perfect, those things working. Like, and the Vikings aren't the best defense in the world. They have a pretty damn good blitz, but the blitz was getting after Fields and that's really not on the offensive line. The Vikings blitz, like good blitzes generally get after quarterbacks eventually. And the Vikings blitzes, they got after Mahomes. Mahomes found a way to look good, beat them. Got after Herbert. Herbert found a way to look great and beat them. Got after Baker, limited him, but he found a way in the end. Made Fields and Bajan actually got the ball, quick move the ball, and Bryce Young struggle. So those aren't coincidences though. That what I just listed off all makes sense on where the quarterbacks are in their tiers. So there's really no surprises there. But so we're not going to blame the offensive line is my point. But they would blitz there. They would blitz in kind of the spots where Fields would, like the plays last week, they would instantly he would get the snap, he'd go outside, and then it would kind of like an option, like a choice of a play. The Vikings kind of limited that. And they were kind of mixing up, are they going to blitz? Or, are the Vikings going to keep a spy on Fields here? So you can game plan for that offense. It's why the Bears didn't want to run it. The staff and the front office didn't really want to run that in the first place. They want to run more of a pro style, but they want to have a mixture of all of that. That's why people say the play callers, the coaches limit Fields in the offense. I actually think it's the opposite. I know it's the opposite because they want to be able to run the pro style things. They want to be able to do this and that. So teams don't game plan for them and restrict them, shrink that playbook because Fields can't do everything. He can't. He's reliant on needing these specific type of plays. So it's very, very evident, very obvious what I'm saying. So, so Fields, and on top of that, Fields hanging on the ball too long. Can't do that. Got to find a way to get the ball out. He was running pretty well. I think he's reliant on that, which results in more wear, more hits, more wear, injuries. Holding the ball, results in that, which happened in this game. That's a tough part too as well. Just couldn't really move the ball. Couldn't get the DJ Moore. Then Bajan comes in. Yeah, he turned the ball over. I mean, he's a undrafted rookie quarterback getting thrown in this situation against a heavy blitz team. But honestly, he was getting the ball out quicker. Was getting the ball to DJ Moore, so that was interesting. But it didn't go great at all. So that's my take. The Bears kind of need things like their specific things to be working and being available, and it kind of limits the type of plays they can run. That's why they went in the year trying to run more pro style. They want to have a mixture of everything, and they can't really do that. They can't. So it's still a work in progress. They still need a quarterback. Seahawks, again, we talked about with the Bengals when we were on them and the positives, even though there was some negatives from the Bengals. It was a weird game. I thought this was a weird game. I don't know. Maybe I don't know if anyone else has that take, but it was like offense early, like explosive offense. And then all of a sudden, and both teams were on the same page, and both teams were on the same page, which completely flipping, and it was mainly just defense and bad offense. Geno made some ridiculous throws early in this game, like ridiculous throws, I thought. Like, there was only a couple, but I thought maybe they stood out to me maybe more than others. Like, maybe, but then all of a sudden he was playing awful, like playing really bad in this game. And I guess the Bengals adjusted and threw him off, but not sure where he was going when scrambling and not sure about some of the throws he was hitting. But I guess offense and defense can't be on the same page at the same time. Maybe in the Giants game, but was the offense really that great in that game? But so that kind of seems to be a thing with the Seahawks. Like explosive teams still view them as a good team, but Can they, inconsistent, sloppy? Can they be on the same page at the same time? Colts, yeah, it feels like they rely on starting extremely well and making these like clutch plays. It's kind of like seemed like what it was this year. They were 3-2. They had some like maybe a little bit ahead of schedule, better than maybe we thought at that time, but still wasn't like throughout entirety of games. They weren't super impressive to me. Yeah, kind of relying getting some clutch plays, kind of relying on clutch plays. So they just getting outplayed from the start, and then it's just over. And they make a little bit of a push, but it's over. So I think they kind of rely on those things. I just don't think they fully have the talent yet, and maybe hasn't really shown through some of those wins they squeaked by in. But the Jags are the much better team, so they completely outplayed them in this game. And then the Saints, I think the offense works so much, and this can mean multiple things. The offense works so much for so little. Should be a "so" in there that makes it a little bit more sense, but flows a little better. But because they're moving the ball there, it just feels like such a process though. But Carr can throw the ball 50 plus times a game. He can air it out. They can have a pretty looking play here and there, a special play like downfield explosive play, getting Kamara going. Like they got good players everywhere too. They just got to work so much for just not getting enough points. It felt like they could have got more points in this game, but it also you kind of can apply a similar line to they have so much talent but get so little. Like it's just talent everywhere, like explosive players everywhere. Like Carr's been a little underwhelming, but I think he's still a pretty good quarterback. Like deep down, I think he's got that in him. It's like it's just kind of underwhelming. It's like they scored a lot of points last week, but could they get something going? They're gonna have to get something going. They just really just didn't have enough. Like the defense, they've had better games this year, but they did all right. The offense got to do a little bit more, I suppose. Offense for the Titans seems outdated. It's like two receivers go out for a pass, rely on the run to open up the pass. It's a different era. When it works, it works. It just drains the other team, kills momentum. You dominate the clock. When it works, it's like what the hell just happened? Like it's just dominance, But it just doesn't work as often anymore because it's a different era, and it works so well because you had elite or close to elite players in their prime that were fit that type of play, and now those guys are kind of coming off their prime a little bit. I mean, Derrick Henry's still freaking insane, but it's just time for change there. And I don't get why Levis is not active in the second quarterback. I've seen enough from Malik Willis. I don't know why trying to say Malik Willis and Will Levis together is weird. Like Malik Levis and Will Willis. I don't know. But I need to see Will Levis. The Titans need to see Will Levis. You need to know if this is the guy or not. And you could say, I don't want to throw him into because they don't have the greatest offensive line, but he saw a lot of that in Kentucky. Like, if you can't handle pressure, you're not going to be a good quarterback. If he comes in here and he just struggles big time under pressure, it's probably a sign. Like, you can't rely on guys having perfect situations. So they have a bye week. I need to see Will Levis after that. They got outplayed a little bit more in the score show in this game too. Did as well. I don't know what Phillips was doing on that punt return. I wouldn't have him return another punt the rest of the year because I've seen a couple fumbles from him in a limited amount of time. You just don't even field that punt in that situation. They rely on some things working here, so I don't love that with the Titans. It just feels like time for change, even though they got good players still on the roster. Don't get me wrong. And the rest of them here. Yeah, the Cardinals badly lacking talent. We said that before. It kind of shows. I think teams just adjust. And the Cardinals got a good coaching staff, I think. I know it looks like there's like other teams are adjusting and they're not, but I think it's more so that other teams are adjusting and other teams have much more talent. Like they're just better, like much more. And that's just the difference. That on top of the adjustments, So that's it for me. And they always start well, and they have a good game plan going into games. They just only can do so much because of the talent on the team, which is kind of lacking. And the Buccaneers, lacking consistency on offense, and it showed a lot in this game, but it kind of makes you think and they've been impressive, better than expected, and I still think they're a pretty good team. I still think they're better than expected, but it kind of like, you think about it, it's kind of showed in other games too. It's like, Baker can make some clutch plays. Mike Evans is good. He can make some clutch plays. They got Godwin, but they're they're not as consistent as they need to be. It's like 1 second the offensive line can give in, 1 second Baker can give in, throw an interception. Like most time the run game's not there. Mike Evans had some slip ups in this game, I thought, as well. But it's just and I'm not really worried about him, but they need to be a little more consistent. They really got to get that run game going. It'll fix this. I think it'll fix this a little bit more. It's not going to solve everything for good, but I think the defense did all right. The Lions weren't dominant. I mean, through the air, Goff played pretty well, but the defense did enough. So the offense got to figure some more things out. They got to be able to score more points. At home with the creamsicles on, come on. I mean, the last two teams, it was more of a positive loss day. Progress for the Panthers and Bryce Young. Adam Thielen's been an absolute stud. So he's been playing well for the receivers. But, yeah, Bryce Young stepped up. They did blow a lead, though. You're going to want them to hang on to it and continue. Like, don't fold on, don't fail against the Dolphins' adjustments. But play the Dolphins in Miami. Progress. There's progress there, I guess. The Giants' defense was great. In this game. Tyrod Taylor is better than Daniel Jones. That was for sure. Is that a negative? Because Daniel Jones got to be the guy when he comes back, but gave him that contract. Tyrod Taylor was better. Tyrod Taylor had a bad decision at the end of the first half. He audibled to a run. I mean, if Barkley gets in, it's like that was probably risky, but he doesn't get in though, and it cost him a field goal, and they could have won the game. Again, the Bills, the last time they scored, if the Giants had that field goal from before the half, they probably would have went for 2. If they got it, then the Giants probably would have been kicking a field goal at the end to go to overtime. But the way it looked, which could have been the case, they'd have been kicking it to win the game. So that was pretty bad. I still blame coaching a little bit. You see Daboll, it's right to be frustrated with Taylor. Like, what are you doing? Taylor's a longtime veteran. He's got to know you can't really run the ball there. But Collinsworth was kind of saying it. Not really what I'm about to say, my point, but he was like saying it was kind of an option. But you have to realize that in that situation, it can't be much of an option. To change the play, especially a longtime veteran. Yes, I get that. It's mainly on Tyrod, but I think coaches got to have these guys prepared. Like, all right, we're gonna call a play. You got to do this. Like, hey, even if I'm talking to Tom Brady, we're reminding him in the offense, want everyone to hear it, the situation, and then repeat that in the huddle, so. Have these guys a little more prepared. Have your guys understand the situation. It is I know he's a veteran, but it's a backup quarterback. Things haven't been going smoothly this year, so Daboll is going to get heated, and I guess I'd be mad too at the quarterback, but man, he gets mad a lot. He's got to get his team under control. They seem a little undisciplined this year. It's not just like the fight in this game or that situation at the end of half. It's been all year, and there's been an execution issue. I know they're beat up. Barkley looked good coming back in this game, but it's an issue for me. So I think mainly I'll still mainly put it on Tyrod. I'm not one to make excuses for quarterbacks, but I don't think anybody is giving any ripping to Daboll for this, and they should. Based on how I just explained it, I think people could agree now maybe, or already did. But defense played fantastic. So could the defense be on the way up for the rest of the year? That's something to watch. It looked good in this game. But overall, Tyrod played well. They got a pass interference call, and there was a missed one. I definitely think it was a missed one. I thought that was. I liked the play too, and I at first thought Taylor put it too high, but it's kind of where it needed to be, and Waller could only go up with one hand. The defender took his right away to catch the ball properly, so that just sums it up. That it was a missed call, and the refs didn't want to call 2 in a row. That's BS, though. You got to call it. If the guy's preventing, Waller had him beat. Was it by a mile? No, because you don't have really a chance to beat a guy by a mile in that situation. But he had him beat, and the defender Johnson took his right away to catch the ball. Like, it's just, to me, it's got to be called. The more I think about it, too. I mean, I knew it right away, but so maybe they should have won the game. Maybe they should have won the game there. So probably should have factor in the first half thing as well, the end of the first half thing. But overall, it's a negative. You had a lead, you couldn't execute. There's still some undisciplined situations. Tyrod Taylor looks better than Daniel Jones. That's almost a negative. And it's the main thing is not he had some good balls, Tyrod Taylor. He had some good throws, getting the team downfield. Obviously has to score touchdowns, get the ball in the end zone. But it's really not just that, like the good throws and stuff. It's understanding the situation. Heck, hey, I don't have a lot of time. I got to step back. I got to scan the field quick. I got to throw it. I can't just hold the ball. And I know sometimes Jones is sacked in 0.2 seconds, but it's kind of what I've been saying with people making excuses for the quarterbacks. Not just Daniel Jones, everyone. It's like, understand the situation. Like, a big problem for young quarterbacks and just quarterbacks in general this year has been holding the ball too long. If you don't have time, get the ball out. And Tyrod Taylor, even though he didn't play a lights-out game, he made mistakes. He didn't get the ball in the end zone enough, at all. But, he understood the situation, so you got to give him credit there. Daniel Jones got to be more like that. Maybe he's not capable of being more like that. That's a problem, though. That's a problem. If I'm wondering if Tyrod Taylor played all last year, like, they wouldn't have given him the Daniel Jones contract because he isn't as young as him, but would they have been like, he's the guy, let's give him a contract? Like, so that kind of sums it up too. Like, maybe that was a bad contract probably, but I guess progress for those last two teams, the Giants defense mainly on that one, the Panthers offense and theirs, but that'll wrap it up for the recap video. My takeaways, went on some rants again this week like last week, but we'll have loads of content for week 7 like always. We'll start talking more trade deadline, maybe a mock draft somewhere around the corner. We got you guys covered here and on Twitter, so join us. Important links pinned in the comments. Gonna do it. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.